Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the studio this evening. I'm going to move my mic. I'm probably loud enough without that mic. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy to be here this evening. Sadiqa, hey, you are ready to get your weekly cheer up fix. You know what? So am I. Carrie Hall, all the way from Australia. Welcome. Oh my God, Australia. Fantastic to see you here. Thank you for joining. Tonight we are going to do a painting of that guy there. It's kind of a running bit of a joke. In January we did surf things. In February we're doing turf things. Oh, actually, it's February, isn't it? Why didn't I do a Valentine's Day something? Oh, that's a big miss by me. Okay, anyways. We're going to have fun painting that guy there, or I'm going to have fun painting him, and hopefully you guys are going to have fun watching and joining in. Carlos is here. Hello, Art by Carlos. Welcome. Let's see. I'm going to jump right in. Actually, I'm not going to jump right in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the paper that I'm using, and this stuff is listed down below here on YouTube. This is Fabriano Studio watercolor paper, not Canson paper, Fabriano. If I had it, I'd show you. Remind me later. I'll go and grab it. My paints over here on my right hand side are my M-Gram paints, and I'm going to be using a series of brushes. I'm going to start with a Da Vinci Casaneo brush. There it is. It's a very nice big brush. Holds a lot of water in it. And what I want to do, as I'm getting started, what I want to do is I'm gonna get a lot of this wet to start with, and then I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna talk with you all about whatever's going on. But what I want to do is put some darker, like a grayer color up here, maybe even into some of the earth tones, some browns or some ochres or something like that in here, and on the sides coming down. And at the same time, I'm going to paint a layer of pink on our pig here. The only thing I'm really worried about is I want to keep kind of this top line, if you could see this at all, I'm sure, right? The top line here, where his ears are and where his kind of rump is back here, I want to keep that a crisp line. Everything else can kind of do what it needs to do, but I want those to be a crisp line. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Before I do any of that, I'm gonna use a bigger brush. Last week we talked about using a Hake brush, and I have one and I'm not using it, but this brush I have used plenty of times before. This is just in reality, this is just a big flat brush. This one is a 3.5 inch flat brush, or 3-inch flat brush. I don't know what it is, 2-inch flat brush. Put out by Rubloff, a Russian brush manufacturer, and it's got some nice soft. These are squirrel hair bristles on it, and I'm just gonna get this a little bit damp so that my colors can run together a little bit. And if I don't make it down to the bottom right away, hopefully I don't end up with any big hard lines in there or anything like that. I'm not really soaking this paper a whole lot. I'm just kind of getting it a little bit damp. Okay, and there we go. Now I'm going to get into this, and like I said, I'm going to use kind of a mixture of some Payne's gray up here. If I had a Jane's gray would work great. Something just to get a little bit of color back here. I'm happy to mix in maybe a little bit of sepia around here, a little bit. Maybe a little bit of burnt umber. I'm trying to think what are the other colors I have here. A little bit of that burnt umber that's here. If I get a little bit of color onto the pig, I'm not gonna, at the moment, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. You might see me pull just a little bit of that color off of there, but I'm not gonna worry about it too much. And so I'm doing this for a specific reason. Okay, I'm doing this for a specific reason. I'm not just doing it just to do this. Those of you who've been with me for a while, you've heard me talk about wanting to loosen up a little bit, about being able to let the colors be colors a little bit more than I have in the past, trying not to take such control of what I'm doing and just allowing the paint to be paint, right? It's going to do some cool, quirky things if we just allow it to do that. So this is part of me allowing it to do that. And then I've got some pink here, and the pink, I will admit, I did a little bit of my own practice here earlier, and I made my own pink. My own pink that I came up with was a combination of pyrrole red, which I love, and quinacridone rose, and it gives me this lovely pink color. And if I just end up touching on the edges, that's okay too. I promise I'm going to turn over a new leaf. I'm not going to stress about some of my colors running together. I'm going to allow them to be different colors. And let's see, I'm going to mix up a little bit more of this. I just think that quinacridone rose is too pinky pink, and the pyrrole red is too red, but together they make a lovely pink color. And so I just want to get some color on here. And I've got a little puddle I want to get rid of right there. I'll pull that down. I might need to adjust that a little bit. But I'm just going to continue on down. I'm trying to go down relatively evenly. And a little lighter color down here at the bottom. Now I will say this is a big thing for me. Right? This is a big thing for me. Next month we'll do something where I want to have a little bit more control. I'll be done with doing this loose stuff. I'll be frustrated with it. And I'll be clamoring to get back at something where I feel like I have a lot more control over what I'm doing. But for the time being, I want to explore this a little bit. I think this is a great exercise to do every now and again. And you're going to come along with me as I do this. But I just want to get some color on here, a nice one layer of color. It's bright right now. We're going to go back over it. It's bright. It probably looks a little out of control. And I'm okay with that. To a certain extent, I'm okay with that. Watercolors often look a little out of control until they're in control, and then we're all good with them. All right, there we are. There's our pig. There's the first go-around with this pig. And now I said I wasn't going to mess with this too much, and I can't not do a little bit here because I want to preserve some of the color, some of this bright pink, and I just had a little bit run right in there. The ear over here on this side, I'm fine with. It can run. It can go wherever it wants to. Good, 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 good. Okay, now is the part where we chat while this is drying. I do have the heater on in the studio. It's over here. When I got out into the studio this evening, it was about 55 degrees in here. Quite chilly. Wow, look, he looks like he's made out of Pepto-Bismol here. No, that's good. That's good. I just wanted this to dry up a little bit. In fact, I should put it in front of my electric fireplace over here to let it dry. Or I've got my handy dandy hair dryer. If it doesn't dry up quite quickly enough, I'll put the hair dryer on it. So let's see. Let me go back. I hope everybody is having an absolutely wonderful week this week. For me, it's a bit of a stressful week. Last week was a bit of a stressful week. This week has started off to be a bit of a stressful week. But you know what? After tonight, it's going to take off. It's going to get all better. It says Pepto Pig. I love paint. And Carlos, Art by Carlos says, I love painting loosely. Carlos, you're probably better at this than I am, but I'm going to make it work. I was looking at some of my other paintings, and it's more important that you get a color down on that first layer. It doesn't matter so much what the exact color is or where the exact color is not. You want to get some color on there, maybe make it close to what you want to end it with, and then let the paint go and have a little bit of fun. So already as this is drying, right, his head has way lightened up. We've got some really light spots up here and a couple of dark spots. And as we come down here, and this is going to be totally fine, because this is going to be, you know, some shadowy areas, some darker areas back here. It's a little darker color red or pink. It's not going to matter. We'll be able to go right over top of that. And then, well, here, if this didn't lighten up, we could easily go over this, but I just want to get that first layer of paint on there, the first color on there. I was going to say, I haven't done a lot of painting on the weekend, but I do want to show you all. I've got a few things that I am working on, and you all can help me with this. At one point in time, I did a whole bunch of drawings of famous paintings, and I was going to redo these famous paintings in watercolor. And, you know, kind of what sparked this was my kids, when they were very little, had little flip books that had famous paintings in them and whatnot. And so I drew some, and I found this one, and I'll lift it up, you can see it. It's Woman with a Pearl Earring. I don't know who painted it, Vermeer or something like this. And I've had this kicking around for a long time, and I pulled it out, and I'm like, I want to paint this. But I don't want to paint this just as it is. So this is where you guys can come and help me. I want to change her earring to something else, or maybe her headband or her scarf here to something else to make it interesting and a drastically different picture, not just a watercolor version of the original one here. And I'm open for suggestions on that, because I don't have one at the moment. There's my truck. I'm still working on it. I'm hoping to be able to get in and do some work on this weekend. This is a fun one. I think this is so hysterical. The truck itself is almost done. I think the truck looks pretty good. The arms and hands, I think, look pretty good. I do have to do, of course, my background, and underneath a nice shadow under here to give them a good stance, and a few details here and there. But I think this one has got a really good start to it. This is a pet portrait. Somebody's dog. Again, I think it's got a nice start. The dog is laying on a blanket here. You can see some curves in the blanket as the dog's paws go down in there. A good start on this, but a long way to go. Further to go on this than on my truck. I think I showed you guys the ravens. I got this far on this and then decided I didn't like the color that these ravens were going. I set it aside, and I've come back to it, and I don't dislike it as much as I did when I stopped it. So I think I'm going to pick this one back up too. It's kind of a cool image with this one looking straight at you and this one looking kind of down, or maybe I'll make this one looking at you with one eye, more on some kind of a sign here. So this one's going to get worked on. And then here's the next one that I'm going to do. This is the next in my series after that truck. If you can see this is a motorcycle. And it's got a leg back here for the back wheel. And it's got a leg up here for the front wheel. And I don't know what inspired me to do these, but I think these are absolutely hysterical. Completely hysterical. Gen X says you love the Ravens. I like the Ravens. I want to love the Ravens. I like the Ravens. There's some work to be done here. I've got to differentiate these two bodies a little bit more. Obviously, the face, there's some smaller details on here. The sign needs, well, God, there's a lot that needs to be done on here. I can actually put in a little bit of structure here for the trees behind without maybe making the background too dark. I want the birds to be, I want there to be no doubt that the birds are the focus, but I could probably put the outline of some trees back behind there or something like that. Anyway, that's a fun one. Yeah, it's a fun one. We might do something like that. Let's see. Oh, we're getting close to being dry. Let's see. That's what I have coming up. So if anybody wants to get in on that woman with a pearl earring, throw it here in the chat or down below in the comments, and I'll be happy to look at that. Excuse me. and if I use your suggestion, I'm going to, of course, give you credit for that. This is still a little bit damp, and I feel like I'm done jabbered away. So let me hurry things along here. I need to put you on mute for just a second. All right, looks like Gen X has to take off. So, Gen X, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for saying hi. Good night. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. And while I'm doing that, I just looked up, and I do have to say we are restreaming here on YouTube and over on Twitch also. And Dory is here. Dory made it. So if you see some chat pop up here on the YouTube stream, it's our friends over on Twitch stopping in to say hello. Let's be super nice to them. And where do I want to start with the next thing? So I'm gonna go back to a regular size brush now. I feel like just popping in for a sec. I have a great live stream paint session. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm gonna go back to a more of a normal size brush for me, and I think I'm going to do some work on these ears. Let's do this. Let me pull this up and you can see this reference photo a little bit better. So the head, right, the top of the head, everything between those ears is super bright. I don't want to do too much to that. But the ears do get a little bit darker. They get a little bit redder. And so that's a perfect opportunity to start to add some color onto those. So I'm going to take our color, right? It's Pyrrole Red and it's Quinacridone Rose. Oh, and I was going to do this. A sheet of paper. Let's do this. This is why. So this is why I mixed these two colors. Right. This might be a little strong in one direction, but here's my mixed color. And here's just straight Pyrrole red. This is what I have on, and look, it's pretty hot red. And here's my quinacridone rose, and it's like an opera pink. It's a bright pink. But I went somewhere between those is probably a good color, and that's where we've got this other color pink over there, which hopefully is similar to the color pink that we're using here. Okay, I'm going to take that color that we're using, and if I get a little bit of this burnt umber in there, I'm okay with that. And I'm going to just start to put an extra layer on the inside of this guy's ears. All right, and this is going to come way out. I need to look at my reference photo real quickly. How far? Yeah, that comes right out to that outside. So we're going to start building up some color, and we're going to start. This is almost like doing negative painting. I'm just not going to paint. I'm going to paint everything inside that shape, but I'm going to paint everything that's not what I had previously painted. So same thing on this ear. I'm going to take that same color, and I'm going to run it up like this. And yeah, it takes up this whole ear on this side too. Dory, I gotta move Dory a little bit. Let's see, where can Dory go to? Dory, why don't you try going up there? Okay, that's not gonna work. Sorry, Dory. These paintings that are a little bit larger, Dory gets pushed right off of here. And I'm gonna put in a little bit of ultramarine blue in here, just to bring this color down a little bit. And this is gonna come down the side of this pig's face a little bit, this color. And I can take this however far I want. It won't matter really, as long as I don't go into an area where I need to have a good highlight. And then as long as I really blend that edge out, I can start to pull that color around a little bit. And I put a little bit of brown on here too. And start to define the side of this pig's face, the cheek line over here. Everybody's real quiet all of a sudden. Everybody's quiet. Or maybe not all of a sudden. It's me. I'm all fired up to do a painting tonight. I'm very excited. I don't know that I've painted a pig before, so I'm excited to paint a pig. And I'm happy to not be doing actual hair this week, if I'm being honest with you. But I feel like I get this way a lot. I don't know. Once I start painting, I'm like, oh, I always have such a good time with it. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of our pink color. Again, Pyrrole red, just a touch. Pyrrole red, very strong. A little bit of our quinacridone rose, and I'm going to actually mix in some. This is gamboge. I want to make this a little bit more orangey. Because I'm going to paint his nose, and to me it looks like his nose has some definite orange color to it. Some definite orange color. And and I should say, I have to say, a big thank you to everybody who in last week's stream, I think it was last week's stream, wasn't it? Who in last week's stream said happy birthday to Finn. So if that was you, a big thank you for that. I actually said, hey Finn, you should probably rewatch that stream or watch that stream. You might find it interesting. So there we go. A beautiful pig nose here. A beautiful pig nose. Let's just darken this a little bit right off the top. There's a little bit of dirt on there. And I can go back into this, right? I just dumped some extra paint on here, a little extra water in here. As long as this doesn't start to dry, that area doesn't start to dry, I can go back in and I can adjust everything. I have a lot of control over it. It's kind of where I like to be. I like to have a lot of control, but I want to give up some of that control, a little bit of that control. Let's see. Sudike says, curious, how did you go about combining the Pyro Red and Quinacridone Rose to get the beautiful shade of pink? I never would have thought of that combo. That's a great question. I'll tell you what I did is I pulled out a sheet of paper. And I might have tossed it already. And I went, what does Quinacridone Rose and Pyro Red? I've only got 4 reds on my palette. And what's this one? Oh shoot! Somebody. What's the? This one is too dark. Doesn't allow for a good pinky color. Oh my gosh! What is that one? Alizarin Crimson. Alizarin Crimson doesn't allow me to get a good pinky color. It still keeps it kind of hot. Like I can continue to add to this and it's still going to stay like a hot color. I guess I can get it to come down a little bit now, but it was still really a warm color. And then my other choice was my maroon, and I don't have confidence that that's going to make quite the color I want. There's like a brownish undertone on that. It'd be great if we have to do a shadow or something like that, a darker layer. But both of these, I thought just didn't quite have the life that these two had together. Right? If I do that Pyro Red and I do the Quinacridone, I thought that color just has a little bit more life than that. Looks a little artificial, and this looks a little dull to me. So not any real reason why I did anything other than just want to make sure it looks okay. And then here's my Quinacridone Rose and Pyro Red together with some Burnt Umber and Payne's Gray, a little bit of blue in here, so I can kind of see how the colors are going to affect each other and blend together just a little bit. And I think I like the lightness of that a little bit more than I got on here, but we got this on here, and so we're going to work with it, and it's still going to be great. It's still going to turn out fantastic. It just might be a little bit pinker than I thought. We're going to get it going now. It's going to be great. All right. So I got the back of this ear, or the inside of this ear. I got the inside of this ear. I'm not going to do anything with the top of that ear quite yet, and I don't want to do anything with the back of this pig. This area back here, in the reference photo, it's really light, but I can come up from the side and give some extra color on here. And here's where I think that test sheet that I did is going to help me out. So if I take our color, I've gone up a brush size here. Right, here's our pink color, and we put a little bit of this blue in it, and maybe a little bit of some sepia in there. that blue and that sepia will gray it down a little bit, and should allow us to get a nice, if we can thin this down, a nice color back here. And it should allow us to, there we go, come on. Oh, it looks so nice. And it should allow us to put in some details in here. All right, we're just gonna pull this color around a little bit. We have all the power to do this. We can move this color however we want to. You want to, excuse me, you want to put in the muscles from a leg in here a little bit. Sure, we can do that. This is one area where you might want to be a little bit more specific about where you're painting. If I want to leave this front leg alone, cool, I've got to leave that front leg alone and not paint into it. If I want to get a little bit darker in here, I can add a little bit of extra color here. You know, there's a hind leg in here somewhere. I could put a few lines on here, and it looks like you can't see it because of my lights. I'm gonna pick this up so you can see this, and then I'm just gonna make sure I don't have a hard line here. I'm gonna blend this really smoothly all the way out, and I'll have to come back and do this again because this is part pulp paper. So there you go. So you can see there's a muscle back here. That dark area should fill in a little bit and make it look like, come on. Make it look like there's some texture to that. A little bit. And then we don't want, there's a lot of water on here. We don't want the hard edge. So I'm just going to allow that to blend up as far as it wants to go. We're going to hope this color doesn't pull out too much and fill this area, because I want this to be nice and light. But with this wood pulp paper, part wood pulp paper, I have to be very careful, very deliberate about the area that I put that water on. So now we got a little darker area back here. Let's get a little darker area underneath his chin over here. Similar thing, right? We've still got that dark. We can come right up underneath this, right underneath his chin here. He's got some nice hairs on that chin, and right on down, about like that. And let's hope I have enough paint here, and if I don't, we're gonna grab some more. And I just want to start layering this up. Kenya's here. Hello, Kenya. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I've set a big challenge for myself again tonight, or a little pink challenge maybe for myself. We're painting a pig. He's going to end up super cute. Already he's starting to look better. He really is starting to look better. We can pull this down, and if this color doesn't come all the way down, that's okay. We can add more onto that as we go. He's got like I want to keep a line here if I can where there's a muscle at. Kind of like that. Okay, cool. And this color starting to creep out. This is because it's pulp paper. Starting to get a little creep. I can push any of this color right back. I just make sure I get a super clean brush, dab it off, almost totally dry, and push it back up into that paint. Just, you know, if I were Bob Ross, I'd be saying 2 hairs and some air, push that right back up. And you can see it's taken that paint, it's pushed it back up. And you can just barely see where there was anything there before. All right, but I think we've got a great start on this guy. Look, already, that orange on that nose gives him a lot of character already, right? It gives him a ton of character. And his ears are starting to look good. They were starting to look good before. I'm going to add another layer to his ears. He's got a couple of creases in his ears or something like that. And yes, I'm kind of jumping back and forth to the areas that are dry. But I want to make sure that we get some of this differentiation in here. Let's see, that comes down, I don't know, I'd say right about there. There's part of an ear. Something about like that. And we've got one over here too. I probably could make this a bit of a stronger mix. If I'm being honest, I could probably make it a bit of a stronger mix. But that's okay. It's okay the way it is. I really need something to drink, and I forgot to bring a water out here with me this evening. I have to ask. I don't have to, but I'm going to ask. Does anybody have any plans for Valentine's Day? I don't know that we have any big plans at my house. Maybe just a nice meal or something like that, but no real plans. I hope I hope you all have better Valentine's Day plans than I do. Mine are a bit boring, admittedly. My wife is not one that really is into what she calls the Hallmark holidays. So we don't do a whole lot with some of these, I'm going to call them lesser holidays, but she kind of goes all out for the bigger holidays. But it'll be nice. We'll figure something nice to do. It's always nice to do something with your spouse. Always nice. All right. So we're getting a look. Look at that ear now. All of a sudden, it's got two ridges in there. We didn't do too much. We didn't spend too much time with it. It's got two beautiful ridges in that ear. I'm gonna do the same thing with this. You guys are watching. Can I should say, is this too close or too close? You're gonna take down your Christmas tree, CDK. Oh man, really? Is that really what you're doing? It's up. I'm not laughing at you. I think it's fantastic. I remember growing up and going, Mom, when do we take down our Christmas tree? Because I wanted to leave it up, kind of as long as I could, and let's try to wring some of that Christmas spirit out of my parents, and maybe I'll get an extra gift or something out of them. And so I remember lots of times it would go until maybe, it would be close to Valentine's Day before we would take our tree down. Which left you left yours up until summer? Really? Holy cow. Is that that's so funny. Until summer. I don't know that I've left it up mine up that long. I'm a little ashamed to say at my house this year, our tree was down, I think, January 2nd, I think ours was down. This year, my house, our tree didn't stay up all that long. It came down pretty quickly. Pretty quickly this year. That hasn't always been the case. I will admit to saying that. But this year it was down pretty quick. All right, so while I was telling stories. I just added a little bit. It's going to just define the outside of that ear ever so slightly. And it looks like it's a dark line, but that should, all right, I'm going to say should, start to dissipate a little bit as it dries. And it should, and again, I'm going to say should, lighten up and end up looking really nice. I'm going to start with his nostrils here. Look at this beautiful orangey snout here. I'm going to give a little bit of color to it, and if we have to come back, or we're definitely going to have to come back, but this will start the process of getting some nice color on there, and we can start to see what's what. We still get some people, I want to say this, still got some people watching over on whichever way they are, over on Twitch. If you're over there, don't be afraid to say hello. I love talking to people. Love getting to know how everybody's doing or what you're doing. And I don't know, I'm like the world's worst OBS user person. So my OBSs may not show exactly your chat, but I will read it out. You'll see it over on Twitch, but I don't know if anybody on YouTube. No. People on Twitch can see their own chat. The people on YouTube can see the Twitch chat. The people on Twitch can't see the YouTube chat. I think that's the way it goes. And I need to get all that figured out, and I'm not exactly certain how that happens. We'll somehow, some way, I'll get all that worked out someday. It's just a matter of sitting down and figuring it out. All right, we got a beautiful little leg here, and I'm gonna try, and this is a try. If it works, fantastic, and if it doesn't work, fantastic. I'm gonna try, because this is what I've done in other paintings. And it seems as though I do it a lot more on the weekend paintings than I do here on a Wednesday, because I kind of get the feeling that on Wednesdays I rush myself a little bit, and I feel like I've got to accomplish something and get things done more than enjoy the process and turn out something that's spectacular. Now, I say that, and I think, for the most part, the paintings that I've done on Wednesday look nice. I've got several of them hanging in my office. I get compliments on them all the time. So I'm not necessarily saying that, but what I am saying is I want to inject into these some non-homogenized colors, right? I want the paint to do the painting for me. In many respects. I don't want to have to do all the painting myself. The paint knows what it wants to do. The paint knows where it wants to go. I see no reason why I can't let the paint do some of the painting here. And so I'm going to do so. And part of that is me being willing to dab in an extra color here or an extra color there to, add some interest. Just a little bit of interest here and there. And I'm not even talking about any kind of crazy colors. I don't need to throw a green in as we're doing this. And I don't need to throw a whatever in. Just colors that are going to make sense. That's all. That's all I'm talking about. So we got a leg back here, right? We got a leg back here. We need to define the leg, or actually what we're going to do is we're going to define this guy's belly by where his leg is not. Right, there we go. So now all of a sudden we know where this guy's stomach is, because everything that's not this color, which is his leg in the background here, Maybe we get some more of this beautiful purpley brown color. Everything that's not this color must be a leg. So we're going to do it that way. And I'm really making a mess on my palette here. And I think that's okay. I really think that's okay. It's been a while since I've really made a big mess on my palette. I will admit that sometimes I get a little anxious about throwing in too much color and probably don't do it quite as much as I should. I'm going to rectify that. There are a lot of things I want to do differently this year. Being a little bit braver and a little bit more willing to throw around a little extra color is going to be one of those things I'm going to do this year. And you guys are going to be along for the journey with me, and you're going to see some fantastically great paintings because of it. Oh my Lord, I just looked. Have I been leaning under my camera this whole time? You guys been looking at the top of my head? Let's not do that. Here, let's do this. You'll see the camera in front of me, but you won't have to look at my head. If Natalie were here, she'd be inspecting my hairline. That's not a slam. Anybody who's just tuning in, that's not a slam. Natalie is a beautician, or was. I guess I don't know if she still is. She was for years and years and years. So she's uniquely qualified to understand how much hair I'm losing here. All right. Oh, look, yes, so good. Our pig is starting to take some shape back here. I may need to come back with a little extra color, but I like the way it looks, right? Nice and bright on the top here. Shading as it's coming around. We can see the legs. We got some work to do on this one. I have a little work to do on this one too, and I think we got some work to do everywhere. Let's get into doing some of this work. Underneath his nose here, we've got some color, and this is just going to be a general color spot here, right? All underneath his nose, whatever is in shadow here, I need to put some color on. I'm going to do everything except for those couple of hairs that are growing off of his chin down there. And I'm going to try to look to see what we have going on here. Some nice deep shadow comes up this way. And right up the side of almost up higher than I think it goes. Right up to his mouth. Right up to his ear. And then I'm going to blend some of this back. So we got a couple of new people just joined. I just looked up and I saw our numbers. Got a couple of people just joined in. If you're new here, you're hopping in for the first time, stop in, say hello. I like to talk while I paint. It's kind of one of the reasons why I do this. It's much more fun to talk with all of you than to talk to myself. So if you want to have a conversation, say hello. I'm happy to have a conversation with everybody and continue the conversation. Let's talk about something everybody wants to talk about, not just me. That's kind of the way I look at it, but I am willing to talk about everything on my own. All right, cool. His face is getting there. It's looking good. It's looking good. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a little bit more on his ears. All right, maybe another little something on his ears. He's got another little layer back here. Oh, I don't know, right there. This might be just a bit of a large brush for this, but right there. Come on, Michael. You just need to get some of the water off of here. All right, there's a bit of something else in his ear. All right, all right, all right. And here too, on this side. Something here. This is just the undulation inside his ear. Right? We all have it. This is not pig bashing or anything. If you can do that, I don't know. This is just some color inside of his ear. I'm going to let this go down and be a little bit bluer down here. We're going to have a mix of colors, I guess. I could have done that with a gray, maybe. A lovely gray color. Might be a little darker than I want. Let me put in a pop of some of this reddish color in there. I don't know, something like this. This is one of the fun things about watercolors. And if everybody doesn't think this is kind of one of the fun things about watercolor, I think we're all doing it wrong. You just get to look at it and you go, yeah, not quite what I was thinking, and then you just change it. It's fun. I really like the way the right ear is turning out. This ear, the full, I don't know, I was going to say the full ear. They're both full ears. Yeah. Yeah, the ears are turning out good. The ears are fun. We're going to do a little bit more with them. The ears are going to get there. The ears are going to be good. All right, let me get a little bit more of our color here. And I want to define the outside of the ear now. So we've done kind of the inside of the ear, and we can see that those folds are in there. But in order to make sure that everybody can see where the outside of this ear is, I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of color on it, and I'm going to get a very clean brush, and I'm going to make sure, where's dry that I can put my hand, I'm going to make sure that everybody can see the outside of that ear right there. And I don't necessarily want to paint that whole area, right, that whole ear, because I want there to be a light spot in there. So just enough to outline that ear. That's all we want. Just enough to outline it. Same thing on this side. Just enough to outline that ear. Right? Now you know where it is. You totally know where it is. A little bit coming down his head here. I need to ask. Is everybody's has everybody's weather returned to normal? I know 2 weeks ago, whatever, everybody, not me, or 3 weeks ago, so many people were in a cold streak, and it was cold 2 weeks ago, or cold-ish 2 weeks ago. And I'm just curious if everybody's weather has kind of normalized and we're back to normal. I'm really hoping it gets back to normal here a little bit, because that means we're going to get a little bit of rain. And we actually got rain yesterday and today. It's our first rain in a long, long time, and we desperately need it here. But I heard so much about it being so cold across the country, and then crickets for a while. And I don't watch too much news that's not in my area, and so I don't know. So I'm generally asking if if most things or everything is kind of returned to normal. And if they have, that's wonderful. If they haven't, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of a curiosity. All right, I put in kind of a little area there. He's got maybe a part of his shoulder there or something. I don't know what it really is. I know that when we look at it, it's gonna look like it's a bit of muscle or something like that. Nope, still cold and more snow on the way. Holy cow! How much snow is there? More snow on the way. That's incredible. Well, if it makes you feel any better, and it won't, it just won't, but we've started to get some turn cool here. It's certainly not cold by any stretch, but it's cool. And I'd rather have it be cool or cold in February rather than hot like it was. Kenya, it's summer over here in Australia. Oh, that's right. Carrie, it is summer in Australia. All right, so Carrie, I just started watching an Australian car show. You can tell me if you've ever heard of it or if it's something made for the American market, and I don't really have any idea. But it's some kind of outback car rescuers of some sort. You need summer. And they drive around Western Australia rescuing old cars from ranch properties and whatnot. And I got to be honest with you, Western Australia looks massively huge with nothing in it. It looks absolutely gigantic. And I don't have a good sense on whether that's just the show. I mean, I know it's big, but if it's just the show or if all of Western Australia it's indeed such a massive thing. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to look to see what's going on with this front leg here. And so I'm just going to kind of try to put some color on here. We might have to do this in a couple of go rounds. So I see some darker area here, kind of like this. And then got a dark bit that comes down from here. I love watching geology and weather documentaries about Australia. Australia really is an interesting place. It completely, totally is. See, this comes down this way, sort of, and I'm gonna cap what I'm doing right there, and I'm gonna blend this out a little bit. But wait, here's why I ask. Australia is such a beautiful country. No, I'm not you won't hear me argue that. I'm not arguing that. But they pulled into some rancher's driveway and seemingly drove down that driveway for 40 minutes or an hour, whatever, and they're talking to the guy, and he's like, how much property do you own? And he goes, about 1.3 million acres. And I'm like, hold on a second. 1.3 million acres is a massive area. It's hard for me to comprehend one property that's, the size of Illinois or something like that. I don't know. I'm like, holy cow. It's this gargantuan area. And I'm having such trouble wrapping my head around it. At one time, visiting the Outback was on your bucket list. DK, don't take it off. No, then you got old. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no, you didn't get old. Put it back on the bucket list. What you got was sidetracked by other things in life. Didn't get old. Not old. I'm not buying that. Because if you're giving into oldness, that means I'm going to have to give into oldness, and I don't want to give into oldness. So what you have is your life experience took you a different direction. It didn't take you to Australia, and that's fine. You've made strategic choices to go a different direction with everything. Yeah, see? Carrie says, you're never too old. The old talk needs to go away. Yeah, got sidetracked by 50 years. Hey, you were on a 50-year adventure. It happens. It happens. Don't knock it. It happens. Sometimes those other sidetracked adventures that you get on are better than the ones you thought you were going to be on. Let's just go with it. Let's just go with it. Call it good. And look, I got no room. I have absolutely no room to talk. I wanted to go. I had wanted to go. I should say it this way. I had wanted to go to Alaska and Australia, both. I have since been to Alaska, but it took me 45 years to get there. So, I'm kind of right in the same boat with you. And I didn't move there or anything. I was there for 3 days. I don't know if that really counts as a going there or not. All right, look. So I just added some color onto this guy's leg right here, and I'm taking a little bit of paint off with my brush. Whoops, I hope you can see it. That's going to denote maybe a little bit of musculature or something. Definitely on the top of his toes here. I'm going to take a little bit of that paint off. I should have done the same thing on this side. But look, we went from this bright pink to now we've got all of these other colors. I've been using burnt umber, and I've been using sepia, and I've been using ultramarine blue along with our reds. And all of a sudden, look at our little guy here. He's starting to look fantastic. All of those colors are coming together to give him a really interesting look. Right? I think he's starting to look really good, and I'm going to continue him looking really good by giving him a little color right up here over his eye. Right? And do we need any under his eye? We kind of have some under his eye. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to immediately blend this out a little bit. Right, I want people to be able to see and recognize his eye sitting right there. Cool. I like it. I like it. Let me get a little color on this side of it. All right. All right. Had a little too much water on my brush there, but there we go. Oh yes, his eye's starting to come out a little bit there. It's starting. Let's do a little bit on this eye too. Starting to come out, pop out a little bit. We can give a little color over here by this whole ear. But these little bits. So this is one of the things I struggle with. I struggle with it on Wednesdays, struggle with it on Saturdays or Sundays or Thursdays or whatever other day I paint, right? Is being patient enough to put the color on in small enough increments that we start to build up, layer upon layer, and it puts on texture and texture and texture. And before you know it, you end up with something that starts looking really good. But a little color here and a little color there and a little adjustment here. And before you know it, all of these little tiny layers, and this for me is one of the things in watercolor that's fascinated me for a long time. I cannot do this in a thicker layer. You can't. You cannot put on a thicker layer and get all of this nuance. You have to do this in multiple light layers. It has to be multiple light layers. Now, all of a sudden, look at his face. We just went from something that was, fairly flat looking, fairly flat, completely flat, but fairly flat looking. Put on a little bit of color around his eyes, a little bit extra around his jaw here, and all of a sudden, now his face has it's got a whole life to it. To me, that's one of the cool things, and I did it in a layer that really is pretty light. If I had tried to do that in a heavy layer, it would have looked bogged down. It would have looked unnatural. It might have gotten a bit chalky on it. But because this light layer, like his jaw here has probably got, how many layers do you think that his jaw has on there? 5 or 6 layers already on there, something like that. It's fascinating. It's fascinating how watercolors can do that. And in no time at all, you develop, well, not no time, but in a relatively short amount of time, you develop this cool look around everything. I'm just gonna, you guys just stay there. I'm just gonna wax poetic about how cool watercolors are in order to do something. All right, here's a bit of his nostrils are going back in there. Yeah, a guy over here on what's this called? On Twitch is saying, oh, he's gonna get me some cheap views or something, whatever. I'm not worried about views. You can take your cheap views and go somewhere else. Completely not worried about it. I don't know how to ban him at the moment. I'm not worried about it. All right, cool. So I think what we need to do is push his face even further, right? And I'm going to go a little bit more into the blue. Well, I'm going to go into blue a little bit more. And that should give us a beautiful purple. Yeah, but I want to gray it a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to come underneath his nose here. I'm looking at my reference photo. I'll come underneath his nose. Darken up this area here. Look at him. Doesn't he look happy? I looked at this picture and he looks happy. So to me, you paint something that looks happy, it's going to make you happy. It's going to be a happy painting. All right, this has got to come down here. Here's our dark underneath his snout. I'm going to let that come down. I'm going to blend this out a little bit. I'm not a big fan of super hard lines. I'm okay with some hard lines. Hard lines, there's a place for hard lines. Just usually not on a painting of mine. But there is a place for them, and we need to, if we're gonna make the underneath his snout a little darker, then we need to make underneath his jaw a little darker too, so it then stands out a little bit more. And there we go. We need to make his jaw stand out. And I don't think I'm going to push it quite as dark as it is in the reference photo. Let me put this back up here again so you see what I'm talking about. That underneath, on that reference photo, underneath his jaw, it's exceedingly dark. It is quite dark underneath there. And it's you know, several layers probably darker than what I have on there. And we could do that. We could totally do that. It would work out just fine. But I don't know if doing that is going to make, this is always the trade-off, is doing that going to make the image that you're painting look better, or is it just going to make it match what you're painting more? And I'm going to go with, right now, I'm going to go with, it's not going to make our painting all that much better. It's just going to make it match more. And so I'm going to stay away from doing a little bit of that. And I'm going to focus on a little extra paint down here, right? Going right underneath. A nice dark color underneath there. Let that come up and blend together and get nice and happy. The two of those can play nicely together. I don't need one color being there and not another. Those colors have to blend really nicely into each other. But I'm liking the way he's looking. I really am. I think he's starting to look good. You can see his face sticking out here. I might have to do a little adjustment here. You can see his face sticking out here. He's gonna make me laugh every time I look at him. There we go. I am going to need to go and do a little bit more work on his snout, but I'm loving the way his snout is looking. I love his little face here. I'm going to do a little bit more on his ears here. So I'm going to use burnt umber along with our color and try to warm this up a little bit along the bottom edge of his ears here. I want to warm this a little bit. This might be, and I'm putting it on, and as I'm putting it on, I'm thinking to myself, oh, so very sweet pig. He's a happy pig. Yes, he is. I think I might have just a little bit extra paint on here. I might have gotten a bit aggressive, but I can, with a little luck here, I can pull some of this off. A little luck. Just pulling a little bit of this paint out, and what I pull out, it's a little too much. I'm just going to dab on my paper towel here. There we go. He's a sweet pig. He's cute. This pig, when I saw this picture, so I probably looked at, I don't know, 40 different pig pictures. Pig pictures. 40 pictures. Pig pictures. And trying to figure out what to paint. I think I had settled on painting a pig early on last week, or early on the weekend, and then it's a matter of, or late in the week last week, after last week's video, and then it's a matter of trying to find what you want to paint, right? So it's kind of a two-step process. What do you want to paint, and can you find a good image of it that makes you want to paint it? Okay, cool. So I found my topic, a pig. Then I had to search for the right image to paint, and I probably, on a weekly basis, I probably look at, I don't know, 200, 300, 400 different images to try to figure one out that I really do want to paint. And this guy came along and looked up at me, and I kind of fell in love with his little face here. And I thought he was so cute that I couldn't not paint him. I couldn't not paint him. I had to paint him. I mean, come on. How could I not? But one of the things that drew me to him is that, and if you can replicate this in your painting, it goes so far. I looked at him, and he immediately has this personality, and I want that personality to jump off the page. I'm not so worried about what he looks like exactly. Is it going to be exactly right? Is it going to be wrong? I don't know. Can I paint this technically right? Can I paint that technically right? I don't know. I don't have any idea. When I'm trying to pick out a picture or find something to paint, the technical portion always for me is like secondary. He said, "Pick me, pick me." He did say, "Pick me." That's exactly what he said. So picking out the image always is, or I mean, doing the technical bit of the image is always kind of secondary to me, right? What really helps is if you start with something that jumps off the page at you, and then it makes you want to add some life to him, right? I want to be able to bring him to life in this painting. And if you can bring him to life, if you can add some of that that it quality that he has, if you can add some of that to him, you're so far ahead. You don't have to worry nearly as much about being technically right with anything. I need to add a little bit of purple in here. I'm really going through these two colors. That's okay. That's okay. This is a little warmer down here than I want. I'm just going to add a little bit of this purple in here, and it's going to be totally fine. It's going to be totally fine until it runs like that, and then we'll figure it out. So that's my thing. If I see this guy and I know he's got a personality that I want to paint, then I try to jump on it and grab him, and we're gonna have a good time painting him. If I see something, and I've done this so many times, I see something and I look at it and I go, okay, that's interesting, I would like to paint that. And then it sits there, and you look at it a year later, 6 months later, 8 months later, and you go, why was I so high on this? I don't remember. What was I thinking about this that was going to make this so good? Because it doesn't immediately jump off at you. And then you're looking at it and you're going, really? Is this really what I want to do? But you find something like this guy, and what's not to love about him? What is not to love? Let's see. Let's give him a little bit of, that's probably way too much. I'm going to give him a little bit of dirt on the bottom of his nose here. Something, I don't know. I probably didn't need to do that, but that's okay. All right, so he's cute. He's really coming along. I'm liking him. I like his legs down here. It's not in deep shadow. I like this stuff about watercolors really excites me. This lighter spot next to that darker spot, next to this middle range spot, next to a little bit lighter spot here, makes that looks like it's just coming off the page, right? This light next to this dark, next to that light, gives it steps of depth, gives it depth to it. Like there's something there. It's adding that little bit of life to what we're doing here. And now as I'm looking at this guy, I want to add a little bit of something else to him. I'm going to pull this color up just a little bit towards the back of his eye here. Something like that. I like that. Okay. I think we could do a little bit of work back here, maybe. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? A bit of a darker color underneath here, along the side. This should have quite a bit of blue in it. Right along his side here, and I'm going to let that come out. I'm going to blend this out. When I say I'm going to let it come out, I'm going to pull the color out. This is just what I would say if I'm talking to myself. I'm going to let this come out. I'm going to let it come out by doing it for it. And I think it's amazing that all of these different colors, right? I've got blue in here. This is like straight ultramarine blue. There's some straight ultramarine blue in here. Got this ultramarine blue. We've got sepia. We've got burnt umber. We've got two different reds. We've got some oranges in here. All right, this might not be the best color for this. That's okay. That's okay. It's all right. It's all right. We can fix it. We don't have any ochres in here, which is good. But we've got all these different colors. And when we looked at this pig to start with, it looked pink. And we've got all these different colors in here, and I'll bet you it still looks pink. But if you zoom in on any one of these areas, I'll bet you don't see a whole lot of actual pink wherever we're looking. There's got little toenails back there. Look at that. Right? Up here, there's a lot of brown in here. There's some red in there. There's some brown in there. Look, there's a lot of blue down here. So much orange up here. Some blues all the way down here, and browns. Browns up in his ear here. So it's cool that we're doing all of this, but not losing some of that pink color. We're actually enhancing some of that pink color as we're doing this, right? I'm going to give him a little tail back there. There it is. It's a little tail back there. It might be a little dark, but that's all right. Yeah, it's a little dark. Let's take a little bit of that off. This is another thing that a lot of watercolor artists do, myself included in here for certain, is you start using your colors, and everything's great. You mix your colors, and then you get kind of this drift in what you're doing, and pretty soon what was a dark on your palette an hour ago is not what a dark is on your palette right now. A dark on your palette an hour ago is a light or a medium color right now, and you start making things darker and darker and darker. And to some extent, that takes away some of the watercoloriness, the watercolory goodness of your painting, and we don't want to do that. I'm gonna fight against some of those dark colors coming in here. I'm gonna try not to do it. And I did it with the tail. And I shouldn't have done it with the tail. And I'm going to try to stop doing that. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to do. So what else do we need to talk about? I'm going to keep right on going. I hope I'm in frame. Since I moved the camera, I hope the pig is in frame. I don't mean I'm in frame. I don't want to be in frame. I want the pig to be in frame. I'm in frame more than I need to be in frame. You got right in front here. Nobody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see the pig, because the pig's the star of the show. The pig is by far the star of the show. Let's see. I'm going to put a little knee right here, I think. Pig needs a knee. I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to do it by putting a light layer, and I'm going to blend this down a little bit. Right? It's going to show up as just like a little knob right there. That's an important bit on the top. Just that little bit right there. I don't know if that's, I don't really think that's even in our regular reference photo there, but it's in our painting. It's definitely in our painting. And then where his leg comes up to the rest of his body up here, we need to be very careful, be very deliberate about putting darks next to lights and lights next to darks. We just want to make sure that our dark areas are next to a light area, dark areas next to a light area. And I'm going to need to do a little bit larger area back here. So this first area we did back here, probably need to go over and do this again. And if that's dry enough, we can do that. Holy cow. This is one of the reasons why I think that colors get stronger. Your palette gets wet, and when you dip your brush into it, more of that color comes out, and that is so much Pyrrol red. I don't know what I'm going to do with it all. My wash water up here is just totally red. It's totally, completely red. Nothing I can do about it. All right, we get this beautiful, we'll make a beautiful purpley color here. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. And so what I want to accomplish with this color that I'm just mixing, is I want to add one more layer here. I don't want to make it like super dark. I don't want to make it anywhere near as dark as the back leg back here. But I just want to take it down a notch so that there's a bigger difference between his flank here and his back. All right, so let's see if we can do that. And I don't want to lose any of, and this is also a good time, you know, as we're coming to the end of this, if you've gone outside the lines somewhere and you want to, you know, maybe straighten a line up or something like this, is perfect time to do it. Perfect time to do it. I'm going to end up with a pig that's more purple than pink, I think. Nope. He's going to be pink, because all this stuff up here, all this stuff coming around this side, is going to be nice and pink up here, right up to that tail. And that might be a little too pink. That might be a bit more quinacridone than we want, but we're going to make it work. We're totally going to make that work. The quinacridone is tough. Quinacridone is a bit tough. It is a staining color, so you got to stay on top of it a bit. Yeah, come on. That was way too much quinacridone. Whose job was it to watch out for me on that one? See if I can get a little bit of that color off of there, and if I can't, I'm going to go back with a little bit of red over top of it. And if that doesn't work, it gets to stay. It'll just get to stay the way it is. Shoo! We go. Look at Piggy. I think you're looking great, buddy. I think you're looking fantastic. I really do. Give me some of this darker, this blue, this gray mixture. I want to work his I had some ribs in here or something like that. I want to work that back hip muscle, abductor, thigh. What are we? Not sure what it's called. Oh man, except for that one, I got a little crazy with the color there, just there. It's so staining. It's so hard to get that off of there. You know what? Let's tone it down. Let's do it this way. Let's tone that down. Let's not cover it up. Let's just tone it down. Or let's not try to get rid of it. Let's just try to tone it down a little bit. There we go. There we go. Work harder, not smarter. Work harder, not smarter. Work smarter, not harder. It's getting late in the day for me. The old brain cells are beginning to stop firing. Who said he's looking great? Thank you, Kenya. I think he's looking completely adorable. Completely adorable. And now that color, the value here is a better interpretation between this light, that medium, and that dark. I think it's a better value. Okay, so cool. What else? We got a whole toe down here that doesn't have anything on it. Look, toenail, little tiny toenail. He's got a little tiny toenail there. You guys cannot see. Somebody needs to tell me if I do something and you guys can't quite see it. I used to mark out on here on my desk with painter's tape where you could see and where you couldn't see. And I kind of got away from doing that. And maybe I should get back to it if it would help everybody see. Or help lock this into where it needs to be so everybody can see it. Let's see. I'm going to give a little bit of a dark in his eye here. I dropped down to an even smaller brush than I had before. And I'm not worrying about leaving a highlight in his eye. Can always come back and add a highlight later. So I'm just going to put some color on there. Look, you can see his eyes. We do have to put on some white, some hair in a couple of places. Well, let's see. I got a little bit more to do though, don't I? A little bit more. I want to take a little bit more blue. I want to get a little bit bluer inside his nostrils here. And I'm okay if it's like blue. Right? I don't mind a blue in there. Let's see what color that blue really is. Okay, so that's a nice blue. I don't mind having some deep blues in his nostrils. We've got to draw a bit of a mouth on here. Don't need to do much. That's all we need to do. That little bit of a mouth. I think it looks great too. Oh, Natalie's here. Welcome, Natalie. You're coming at the right time. You're coming at the right time. You get to see the end result here as he's looking great. Now I'm going to add a little bit of my white gouache to my palette. Yeah, come on, white gouache. And I'm going to mix that with a little bit of our pinky color here to get an opaque pink, because I just want to give in a couple of different areas here, right? I want to give a couple of, I know I got some wet areas down here, so I want to give a couple of lines for some hairs, right? A couple of hairs here. Maybe a few on his ears. See, I know he's got... Let's make this a little whiter. Let's get some hairs here. And... I want to go around this edge and just break this up. This edge up with a few hairs here and there. Right, I don't need a million hairs on him. It won't matter. It really won't matter if there are 1,000 hairs on him or 12 hairs on him. Believe it or not, it really won't. The only thing that's really going to matter is the edge broken up around him, and whoops. And can you see that there are some hairs on here somewhere? Right, the viewer's eyes are gonna do so much to add a lot of detail onto here. I just put a few little hairs here and there all the way around. Right, it basically took that straight edge of his ear and broke it up. The straight edge of that ear and broke it up there. We don't need to do too much more than that. We really don't. I am actually waiting for his eye to dry a little bit. Would be nice if it would dry ever so slightly. Then I could put a highlight in there. If it doesn't, we'll deal with it. There you go. I just made a little pocket on his ear right there. That might have to lighten that up even a little bit more. So now he's got kind of more of a, I guess you'd say more of a human ear. It's got a ridge that goes all the way around. It's not like that. Not like that in a reference photo. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's all good. Oh, so now we need, now, okay, now I'm going to attempt, like shadows showing the ribs. There you go. Yeah, we got a couple of lines here on his ribs right there. Yes. And really, those lines where his ribs aren't, they're just going to add a little extra element to it. Oh, but I think it looks good. That little bit bothers me. I'm going to not let it bother me. What I need to do, though, is get some of my neutral tint out. Because I'm going to put a shadow on him. Maybe a little Payne's Gray in there, but a lot of neutral tint. We're going to add some of our pink to it if we want to pink it up a little bit. Oh, this for me is always the biggest worry. And I don't have a great shadow anywhere in our reference photo here, and that's okay. We're gonna try very hard to give him one. Watch, this is gonna be so opaque now because my water is opaque. We're going to give him a bit of a shadow here. Don't mention that he's only got 3 legs. Don't even think about it. Not a big deal. Shouldn't even cross your mind. That looks really, really opaque. I'm going to bring that up. I don't know, something like that. Like I said, we can put some of this pink in here, reflected light in there. Totally fine with a bunch of that. Down his foot. This all comes through. Oh, I went on his foot. Don't go on his foot. There, let's go off his foot. Oh, me and my efforts to make shadows. That's hysterical enough just on its own, right? And let's see, we probably have a shadow. Let's see, that shadow line is coming out here, so let's make this come out this way. And that's going to be out of the painting anyway. It all comes down right to the bottom. Something like that. Oh, I do need to, I don't know. I'm just going to not do, that leg is back there somewhere. He's got a wider rump, I think. Don't you think? He's got a wider rump. If that shadow's coming this way a little bit, this whole shadow's got to come out this way a little bit. This whole thing's got to come out this way a little bit. Let's do this. Thinking about what this shadow really would look like. And I can tell you what it is not watery enough. There's not enough water in here. Because it's starting to look a bit worked as I touch it. So I know there's not quite enough water in here, but that's okay. We're going to do something like that. We've added some extra water where we've let that shadow run all around and be shadowish. It still doesn't look right. It still looks like this has got to go out further, doesn't it? This side's got to go out further before it comes in. It's got to be more. I mean, he's a little pig, but he's not that little. He's still a little chunky. All right, maybe that makes me feel a little better. Maybe, I don't know. I'm going to spend twice as long doing my shadows I did do the pig. Is that a better shadow for him? I think it's a better shadow. Okay, I'm gonna stick with that. Try maybe to add a little life to my shadow. God, it just went on his foot. Get off of his foot. I don't know about that shadow. All right, a couple of extra things to finish up here. Not a lot more. I'm going to come back with some straight black. If I can get some worked up right on his eye. And I'm going to put it on like the back half of his eye back there. That should help a little bit. On the front half, I'm going to put a dot. Put a little line there for a highlight and a highlight there. You know what? I'm going to put a little highlight on his snout here too. run the same line as his snout. And I think that's about what I'm going to do with this guy. I think he's cute. Everything except for the shadow, I think looks great. Like shadow showing there. Oh, like shadow showing there. Okay. I don't know how it got so gray. I guess I put a little too much Payne's gray in there or something. I don't know. But it's not a. It's a pig painting. It's not a shadow painting. I'm gonna sign it here and be done and run out of here. All right. That's what I got for you this weekend. I actually think he's cute. If you look at the reference photo, where's our reference photo? Right, you can see his personality there. He's looking up at you like, what's going on? Can we have some fun or something? I don't know what he's doing. And if you look at what we came up with as a result of that, I like our pig better. The darks maybe aren't quite as dark as they need to be, but I think he looks fantastic. He's kept all of the same personality from the original one. And he's adorable. So I'm going to take this as a success. And again, I love the shoulder here. Actually, I like the way the knee turned out. I like the light here. I like his rump back here, right, with the dark and the light. I love that dark light interplay. I love the side of his head. The way that dark comes down around his eye, the way the dark goes over top of his eye, really makes that whole area stand out, and that helps give him a lot of that personality. Anyway, I'm tickled with the way he turned out. So I want to thank you all for joining me here on this Wednesday. What day is it? On Watercolor Wednesday. We're going to do this whole thing again. Next, his fourth leg is crossed behind his other. It's back there. You can't see it. Yet, Natalie, you're right. Thank you. It's back there. Or, yeah, I don't know. It's there somewhere. It's hidden. I actually drew this on here and tried to draw it as close to that as I could. And then I drew it again on a different piece of paper and put this leg out a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, it looks so much better. Why didn't I do that? And then I just put a little stub for his other leg, and it looked great. And then I never translated it over to this one, but that's okay. It's fine. His name might be Tripod or something. I don't know. So next week, I think we're still going to do a farm themed something. I don't know what it's going to be. I'll put it in Discord. I'll put it maybe in the community channel here on YouTube. We'll find out, and we're going to have fun with it regardless of what it is. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for spending a couple of hours with me. I hope I made your Wednesday evening enjoyable. I know you all made my Wednesday evening enjoyable, if I can get the words out. Join me back here next week when we do this all over again with another painting. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.